Morning, everybody. It's Pete Blair here, aka the Mad Scientist, and I thought I'd show you some of the speed controls for small brushed motors that I've used or tried over the years and give you a little bit of a comparison to what they'll do. Now, in the previous photos, I showed a bunch of tools that I have in my shop, and I'll do a few of those and show them as well. And of course, I think everybody knows that these run very well with a foot control. Fordham foot control, and as you can see, I hope I can control the speed very well. Problem I have with this is that I have trouble maintaining a speed with my foot, so I thought, well, I'd try some other things. I went and got one of the Fordham's own dial control desktop speed controls, and as you can see, it works slick too, and I can keep it at a constant speed, of course, without using my foot. So what I like to do is I like to connect speed control through a foot switch, not a variable speed control, but just a switch. So it's on and off. I can set the speed here, and I can turn it on and off with a switch. That's the way I like to run the Fordham. Now, these two units are good quality. They're both about 6 amps, 5 or 6 amps. Of course, I'm showing all these tools. They're not under load, so the load might actually exceed the amperage of the tool. I discovered that these Chinese-made Variacs work very well for brush motor speed controls. And it's a simple, this is only a 3 amp unit, but it again is a simple, it has a switch on the front, and it's very good at controlling the speed of these brushed motors. I especially like to use it when I'm sanding, because typically sanding, you want a lower speed with most of you. If you use a Dremel or something smaller, these will work just fine as well. Now I also have here it's a router speed control. It says it's a 15 amp. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'll show you what happens with it. The problem is it won't handle the really slow speeds that I like. So it has a switch for full, off, and variable. If I put it on variable, it starts about half speed. I can go up from there, but I don't get to control the low speeds with it. It's fine. It works if you don't want to go very low. What I've also played with is a fan or a dimmer switch. And so I put one in this little box here. Have the control here, and once again, as I turn it on, it won't run very slow. So that's about the slowest it'll run. Of course, it'll go up full speed as well. So these controls work only with brushed motors, and some of them will not work if the motor, the tool, is a variable speed or a soft start, beg your pardon. Kind of thing that I've played with is a lot of people give away, move this out of the way here, old sewing machines, and sewing machines have got kind of a neat motor on them. Here's just one example. This would really work good as a fan if you wanted to put a little fan motor on it. It also will be, it can be controlled by any of these. Even the cheaper one here don't know if you can see it, but it goes nice and slow. So if you had a fan and you were doing pyrography or something like that and you just wanted to blow the air away, you could use it. These motors are meant to be variable speed, of course, with a sewing machine, and it'll run up to full speed. Once again, I'm not sure what would happen under load with this guy. It may not take a heavy load. If not, then, well, you know, you're just working it too hard. But if you're using a small Dremel or a small fan or something that doesn't have much load, it should be fine. Another thing I'd like to show you is a die grinder. Now, they make them now variable speed, and it's a good reason, because often they work fine at high speed for what they were designed for. But if you want to use them for sanding, final finishing, that kind of thing on a carving, they run a little too fast. Again, it works just fine on all of these tools, or all of these speed controls. So the Foredom foot control. It's tough sometimes if you're using one of these and you're standing up. It might not be a good idea to have it on a foot control. In that case, of course, you could plug it into the tabletop Foredom speed control, which will work fine for sanding or for fine work if you don't want it running too fast. And of course, if you want it, you can get it running full speed. Now this draws a few more amps. I believe this is a 10 amp. It would probably burn this guy out. Let's see what happens with it in the router speed control. Oh. Again, the slowest I can go is about half speed. I think these are about $40 or $50. Get them on Amazon or anywhere else. That's Canadian. I'm in Canada, so you might get them cheaper. They might be a little cheaper. These guys, I think in Canada, are around $100 or a little less. The Variac. And the Variac is a wonderful, again, another beautiful one for doing this kind of a thing with even a high amperage, stronger tool. And let's see, what else have I got? I got, again, brushed motors. We're just going to use the same Variac because they're all pretty similar. A brushed motor. This is the little chisel, Proxen chisel. Don't know which is on. So if you just wanted to go slow, you can go slow with it. I believe because the motor's quite small, it would work probably equally with this guy. It doesn't feel like it's hitting very hard. Let's see. If you have a RotoZip, you can use it for sanding too, but it runs way too fast, typically for most sanding applications. It's running in the 30,000 range. I actually did a video where I attached a Dremel flex shaft to one of these. And let's see what it will do here. So it can be controlled nicely too. and it has 4 amps. It might be fine in this guy too. Let's just try it and see. Now again, it doesn't start slow. It starts about half speed. Let's see, what else have I got? Oh, you typically, a lot of people use disc grinders. Now this is a really good Walter disc grinder, and it could be run by any of them as well. I don't know you'd want to be sitting down using it, so I don't think you'd use this guy. But if you wanted to make sure it's off, yep, use a speed control. Again, they run pretty fast and they can burn if you're sanding with them. With kind of a coarse paper, something they can burn pretty easily, or a finer sandpaper will burn easier. But you can control them as well with these speed controllers or the Variac. This is now connected to the Variac. And it controls it about the same as this for about half the price. A Dremel. How about a Dremel? Now, the problem with Dremels is that most of them have a variable speed, a dial on them of some sort. This has just got a slider. Often this fails and it only goes to high speed. So if that should happen and you want to control the speed, you can use one of these devices to do that. Well, what I find is with the Dremel and this control at slow speed, I don't know if you can hear it, but it kind of surges at low speed. You can still hear it doing that. Once you get to high speed, it's fine. In the Variac, it runs smooth at low speed. I have an older Dremel here too. What I should have said when I started with this is that if you have a Dremel with a variable speed, only run it with a speed controller if you've got it set to maximum. If you run it down to a less speed, you're using both the adjustment in the tool and the voltage control that you're supplying to it, and it's going to be very hard on the motor. So this is an older Dremel, and it runs just fine too. As long as it's got brushes, as long as it's a brushed motor, it should be fine, other than what I said at the beginning. Now this guy, he could be run from any of these other ones as well, but you'll notice he kind of pulses. I can still feel them pulsing till you get to a certain speed. And of course, that can be run from the router speed control as well, and it'll only start at about halfway here, and it's pulsing. So it does work, but it doesn't seem like the tool really likes it. As far as this Foredom, which is one of the better ones, it pulses it as well. Variac runs it smoothly from the slow speeds. As far as any of these go, this might be, if you have room for it, this might be the way to go. Now the trouble is, it says it's a 3 amp. These are 6 amps. This is 15 amp. These both have fuses. This one doesn't. These two have fuses. You might blow it if you put a lot of load against the tool using a large wheel or something on it and not running at full speed. I think that's about all I've got to show you today. So there's lots of choices in terms of cheap ways of running or controlling the speed of your tool. Still less expensive ways, a little more expensive, and then the kind of the creme de la creme of the tool speed controls. I hope I had something here of interest for all of you, and I will see you next time.